This is my 1997 Chevrolet Camaro RS, and I'm going to be replacing a bad wheel bearing. I'm driving the car to hopefully record the noise that this car is making. You can pretty well tell that it's a bad wheel bearing. Kind of a low rumble sound, grumbling, kind of a grinding sound. You'll likely not hear it when you're going straight, but whenever that bearing's under pressure, whenever you're turning and the wheel's under tension, that's when you'll hear it. Take much of a turn to make that noise. I've had to change wheel bearings on my pickup a while back, and the noise was way worse than this, so I think I'm catching it at a pretty good time instead of letting it get real bad like I did with my Silverado. Alright, one way to test for a bad wheel bearing is, do you have any play in your tire, in your wheel, the whole assembly here? And there's not much, but there is some play. This shouldn't move really at all. So I know that wheel bearing, that's an indication of a wheel bearing that's going out. I've done the wheel bearings on my pickup, and there was a lot more play than this. If you let a wheel bearing go bad and keep driving on it, it could wear your tires improperly and ruin a set of tires. First thing I'm going to do is take the caliper off. When I get this caliper off, I'll take the disc off, and that'll give me access to the bearing. Now this has like a reverse head bolt. You have to put one of these type of sockets on it to get it out. I don't know why they don't just use regular bolts, but oh well. Got two of these to get off. This is a 3/8 inch socket, by the way. Okay. I've got this other jack stand sitting right here. I'll just set this caliper over here so it doesn't hang by the brake line. Just to get that out of the way. Alright. There are 4 1/2-inch bolts that hold this whole hub assembly in. I've got them soaked in WD-40, and they're coming out pretty easy. So get these 4 bolts out. There's this wire that plugs into the back. I'll disconnect that, and I should be able to get this hub assembly out without any problem.
I'm getting good at it. Lift it, drop it. Lift it, drop it.
Alright, this is the back side of the hub here. You can see this wiring plugs in right there. Just get that out, and I might need to take a little hammer or something and hit on this to get it to come out. Alright, I've been hitting on this pretty hard with a hammer and a block of wood, and I just almost got it out. Alright, now I'm just going to clean off the surface. Here's my new bearing. It's part number 513090. It's a Timken. Connector in the back. I think it cost me about $89, anywhere from $90 to $100. Can't remember after tax. It was about $100, so not that expensive. I know there's some out there. I think Moog or somebody makes one, and it was like $300. I'm gonna put this in this way where the connector is facing that way. Electrical connector. Slide that in. I'm going to tighten these down in a cross pattern. That way it'll seat perfectly flat. I don't know what the torque specification would be on this, but I'm just going to tighten it nice and snug. Alright, plug in your connector. I took my brake pads out. I'm going to put this clamp on my caliper to compress the piston to make it easier on myself getting this caliper back on. And in order to keep the rotor in place, I'm just going to put some lug nuts on. Otherwise, I'll be fighting it. Spray a little brake cleaner on here to get the brakes rotor nice and clean. There's no play in that wheel at all now. So that's how you change a wheel bearing on a 4th generation F-body. Really wasn't that hard to do. Again, with it being a rear wheel drive, you don't have to deal with the front axle and the hub bearing bolt and all that nonsense. So you don't have to worry about any of that. It took me about an hour or less of my time, roughly $100 for the part. So I saved myself some money. Instead of taking it into a shop, I probably would have spent $250, $300 to have this replaced. So if your wheel bearing is starting to make noise, you're going to really want to replace these sooner than later, because you could ruin a set of tires with the uneven wear, with the movement in the bearing. It could cause your tire to wear improperly. If you let it go too far and the bearing gets really bad, you could have failure and the bearing could fall apart and your wheel could separate from your vehicle. So that's pretty extreme. So you certainly wouldn't want that to go that long. But again, real easy to replace, not that hard. Took it for a test drive there and didn't hear any of the grinding noise, so this job is fixed. So again, pays to do it yourself. Thanks for watching, and God bless.